And thanks to you, Goldman Sachs will still be around to jack up the price of oil through derivative speculation, that is to say future indices, which are derivatives, in that offshore London deregulated market that Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley, the two have been saved, are the biggest speculators. They're responsible for about 40% of the increase in the price of oil is due to the fact that Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley have bid it up. Now, as they were approaching bankruptcy, they were selling those futures contracts. That's why the oil price has gone down. Now that they're off the hook on bankruptcy, they're free to go back and speculate, and they're going to do that at your expense. So this is absolute monstrous stuff that's going on. Again, I would call on people, mobilize, try to stop this bailout from going through. And again, any argument you want to make against it is a good argument, but I think the most effective ones are, where's the public interest in all this? Where's the interest in rebuilding the United States? Everybody knows the infrastructure of the United States is at the point of physical breakdown. The interstate highway system is at the point of physical breakdown. The railroad infrastructure is collapsing, right? You have train crashes all the time. Look at Los Angeles.
But it's total greed. I mean, these brokers and these international bankers, they literally are making hundreds of, low-level guys in Wall Street are making $5-10 million a year. The big guys are getting, $100 million bonuses. They just don't care, and the public doesn't understand all this, so they have no idea.
Well, the point of mass mobilization, it obviously you reach it when the contraction, and we're now going into a violent contraction of production, employment, and living standards. When you get, instead of this gradual decline in the standard of living, when you get a sharp reduction of 1/3 to 1/2 of the current level, I think at that point political mobilization becomes much more feasible. The question is, to do what? And again, I recommend activist measures that will actually deal with the cause of the crisis. And again, the number one way to deal with the cause, wipe out derivatives. We got between 1 and 2 quadrillion of these derivatives. There are now credit default swaps. We haven't talked about them. We've talked about the CDOs.
Well, explain to people what a quadrillion is. See, I don't think they get their mind around.
1,000 trillion. It's the whole U.S. budget is 3 trillion per year. The gross national product of the U.S. is between 10 and 15 trillion.
And the national debt's now at about 10 trillion, but in future,
So you're talking about, if you say 100 trillion, you're about at the price of the world. And if you say a quadrillion, it's probably 10 times what the planet Earth is worth.
But let's explain the level of this black hole of fraudulent debt they created. We don't owe this, folks. It's just made up so these bastards could buy every shipping company, every coal mine, every local police department, and they just sit there with troops laughing, oiling their machine guns. And now they're announcing they're going to occupy the U.S. with regular army, and it says in Army Times, we hope we don't have to shoot you. It's incredible.
Let me add one other thing, though, because let's just take the question of fascism, because one thing is to look only at the top-down stuff, the police-state dictatorship, totalitarian stuff. But now let's look at the fascist side. You see this thing with Governor Palin's email. This is really interesting. Bush and company were reading everybody's mail under the violation of the FISA Act, okay? But now you have hooligans, thugs, and the myrmidons of the Obama movement, neo-fascists, postmodern fascists, who go and read your email, and they do it with left cover, anti-establishment cover, radical cover, grassroots cover, and they're not the government anymore, but they're acting as a flanking operation to the government. In other words, Obama is on his way to seizing power, and he's got these fascist goons who are going to come and steal your email. And the public response is different. In other words, if Bush had been found reading somebody's email, that's a scandal for the left liberal. But now, when Gawker.com and the son of some Democratic congressman who's some kind of a goon for Obama, when they go and break into an email account, that's fine because that has left cover. That's the genius of fascism.
No, I understand that, and you think Obama has the grassroots support to bring in something really dangerous, whereas McCain's a dead political duck and would just discredit it. But here's the deal. Why do we have the Rothschilds and the British royalty and every other elite lining up, on the surface at least, for John McCain?
Well, I don't see that at all. Again...
Oh, really? I can play you all the clips. They're all over.
Look, but these are individuals. This is anecdotal stuff. if you look at the massive evidence of who's giving the money, Obama's getting 5 times more out of Wall Street than McCain is. He's getting the most from Goldman Sachs, the most from Lehman, except for Hillary Clinton.
That is true.
The money. Look at the money, and you will see that Obama is the overwhelming candidate of Wall Street. Look at these people like Volcker. Look at the Federal Reserve.
So you think they're going to try to use minorities as the Hitlerian brigade if he gets in? Because I do see them hiring the illegal aliens for the military and positioning them in key places. I mean, is that what you're saying? You're saying he will, for the white bankers, kind of be the front of a brown revolution that's counter?
I wouldn't see it in racial terms, although that's how Obama will try to package it. The idea is that if you look at strike breaking, who has the credibility to break a strike?
The liberal.
No, McCain's a reactionary. Nobody likes McCain. But Obama has left cover. Obama's going to say, I'm breaking your strike for the polar bears and for the poor people starving in Africa and for the snail darters and all these other left-wing causes which people they're not prepared to fight back on.
Well, Webster, I got to get you back on next week, so look at your schedule and email Trey or I'll call you. I want to get you on for 2 hours.
Glad to do it, Alex. Thank you very much.
Well,
let me just mention one last thing. Barack H. Obama, the unauthorized biography at Amazon.com and Lulu.com. Until you stock it,
That's right. Great. I'm glad for you. Yeah, a new book out. 2 books in just 6 months. That's incredible. Tarpley, good to hear from you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for coming on with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at the news on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. It's on the economy, on the police state. Just all the stops are being pulled out. This is the time to be paying attention to things, and this is the time to be spreading the word to everybody you know. We keep telling you, get into gold, get into silver, get into storable food, get into water filters, get secure. Yeah, and people say, what do I do? What do I do? Probably can't turn around going into a depression. You probably can't turn around the full looting or the 3rd, brigade of the Army coming in. They're openly announcing everything we told you. God knows what's going to happen now. I mean, they've told us it's horrible, but just to see it unfold is still another thing. It's one thing to analyze it, predict it, read their own documents where they say it. It's another thing to see it start unfolding. And, we just thank you all out there for your support of this radio show and our sponsors and everybody we bring on here, whether it's Ron Paul or Cindy Sheehan or Webster Tarpley, all the people we support and promote. We're a platform for everybody resisting tyranny to try to have a real debate about what's happening.